Good evening, Napoma High School families. For those of you that are this is your first time tuning into a pep talk, I am Jess Hawley. I'm the 9th and 10th grade counselor here at Napomo, and tonight's going to be a little shorter and sweeter. Next week we have Digital Citizenship Week coming, which is something that we've started recognizing here at Napomo a couple years ago, because with the way the world currently, not just distance learning, but the availability of cell phones, social media, so many things that our students deal with, we wanted to have a week dedicated to an educational piece with that, and making students and families more aware of a student's digital footprint, what they can access, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a guide of what next week might look like. I wanted to share a really fabulous resource with you, and then I'm also going to share what we're going to be doing for next week's pep talk, and for that I would love input from you all. So to start with, what I have here is this digital citizenship guide. This helped really guide activities for next week. Our ASB students have been working very hard in creating an activity and information every day that's going to be pushed out via our social media channels. So please make sure that you're following Napomo HS on Instagram, Napomo High School on Facebook, and we are also on Twitter. So there's going to be great information pushed out to students. Make sure your student is following as well if they have those social medias. So right here, like I said, this is what was used to guide that. We're also going to be covering digital media in different grade level breakouts in our advisory period next Friday. So as many of you know, we have advisory every week, and that's where us counselors are able to push out social emotional learning and information. Our awesome teachers deliver that content. So next week, to wrap up Digital Citizenship Week, it is going to be based on digital citizenship, and it's going to be different depending on the grade level of the students. So this is just a really great guide. We are encouraging our students to practice safe, responsible, and legal use of technology. Just because it's on a phone or a computer does not mean that it can't be tracked, does not mean we don't know about it. And in fact, there have been discipline issues in the past where something is posted or said on social media, and then when it distracts students here at school, it becomes a school issue and we become aware of it. So we're hoping that our students will learn digital commerce, not just buying without asking. There's so many games and apps out there that if a student has, a parent's financial information, they're able just to press buy. Don't want that to happen without permission. Digital downtime. So we want to encourage students to disconnect. Distance learning is a challenge for a lot of students. It is a long time on screens. As so many of us adults know, this is a long time for us working on screens, especially if you've been working from home or worked from home during the closure. A lot of time on screens. So we definitely want students to unplug every so often and take a break from that. Digital etiquette. This is vital, not just for our students, but for everyone in the world. We want them to use real world behavior standards in the digital world. Just because they can post something anonymously or it's a faceless exchange doesn't mean that what they say or don't say doesn't affect others. Digital health. Again, we want students to be aware of when to sign off, when to disconnect. Digital integrity. Integrity is part of our Titan Pride matrix. So we want our students to learn to examine sources of online information to determine their credibility. Is what they're looking at true? Is it credible? Personally, that's something I love to teach students. I was a journalism major in my undergrad years, and being a conscientious consumer of online sources, news, media is super important to me. Digital literacy. We want students to avoid suspicious emails, websites, and online advertisements. Along with that, we want students to be digitally literate in sending emails. We covered self-advocacy, like I said, in last week's pep talk, in last week's advisory, where actually students were, reminded when they send an email to an adult, a staff member, they put a subject line in there, they put a greeting, they put what they want, what they're looking for, their question, and then they put a sign off. We want students to learn how to write a proper email. Digital privacy. Review those privacy settings with your students. We want students to know what to share and with whom. We want them to be conscious of that. Digital responsibility. We want them to be advocates for themselves and advocates for others. We want them to report problems, abusive behavior, and inappropriate images or content. We want them to take care of themselves and other people. And then digital security. Students forget their passwords. We want them to make their passwords easy to remember, but hard to guess. Anytime I'm talking to students, I tell them, even on my cell phone, I have an app where I store all of my passwords. That way I'm able to remember them all. I'm able to change them, so it's not the same one for everything, but it's a great place to store information, and it's private. So like I said, those are some of the ideas that are going to be guiding our Digital Citizenship Week next week. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about this, Common Sense Media is a really fabulous resource. If you've never seen it, this is what their main page looks like. If you've seen it, hopefully you like it and you go to it. So the main page, actually, kind of how they started, is they review movies. They have movies that are out. You can see they show what age they're for, and then a review. And then if you click, I'm just going to click on this one, for example, you go into it and it shows what parents need to know. What do you need to know about the media that your students are taking in? So it's the same thing. They have books. So if I go to like the best book review list, it has information about books. It has information about apps and games, which is awesome if your student likes to download a lot of apps and games and you're not sure what that thing is. TikTok, that came up all of a sudden. Do you know what TikTok really does? Check out this website, Common Sense Media. What parents need to know. This is really fabulous. It's divided by, It's divided by age. It's divided by topic. And then the parent's ultimate guide to Google Classroom, Fortnite, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok. So just for example, by topic, if I were to click on social media, it has questions that other parents have asked, other families have asked. What should I do when other people post pictures of my child online without asking me first? So again, this is good for so many ages, for so many kids. It's a really fabulous resource. It's just kind of a hub of all this great information. There's research, there's a Latino specific section. So there's actually resources in Spanish, which is awesome. Then there's also a whole area now about distance learning, back to school guide for families, coronavirus support, free weekly webinars, and again, resources in Spanish. So if you've never seen Common Sense Media, carve out some time. I encourage you to go through this website. There's so many awesome resources here for you. Lastly, like I said, I am going to be sending out a survey. We are going to have a speaker here from Transitions Mental Health Association, or TMHA. For those of you not aware of TMHA, they're a nonprofit out of SLO. They work with the entire county. They work with individuals and families of individuals with mental health challenges. And specifically, there is a family services branch. So we are going to have some individuals with us answering questions. So that being said, what are your questions? I would love to know, what are some questions you have about supporting your students' mental health during this time of distance learning, during this time of COVID-19? So I have made a Google form. It's in English and in Spanish. So thank you to our wonderful translators. And you're going to be able to enter what questions you might have. And you're also going to be able to enter your contact information if you would like to be contacted directly by TMHA, by a representative from Transitions Mental Health Association. If you think that you might like to know more about their services, or if you know about their services and you have someone in your life who's struggling from mental health challenges and you would like to take advantage of those services. All right, so that is an option as well. So that's going to be coming out via Parent Square. If you don't get it, you don't see it, you can also email questions to me. My email is on this form. It's jess@hawley@lmusd.org. Please tell me what you're thinking. Please tell me your questions. We really want to have this tailored to our families. So again, put those thinking caps on. What kind of questions do you have about supporting your students' mental health, maybe your own mental health during this time of distance learning? And along those lines, we are going to have on November 4th, we're going to have a local marriage and family therapist with us for our PEP talk, who is going to specifically talk about stress and anxiety relief for parents. So we're going to be covering that as well. Parents, we got you. Families, we got you. We appreciate all you do to support your students in their learning. And by supporting your students, you're supporting us. And we always want to know what we can do better to help support you all as well. So please check out Common Sense Media. Look out for this form in your email or via text, and I'll be seeing you next week for the next pep talk.